"Boss, have a latte," Frank Lee said as he entered the coffee shop. "You're always so punctual every day," remarked the owner, his eyes filled with admiration. For the past 3 years, Frank Lee had been coming to this coffee shop at the same time every day. Rain or shine, he would appear without fail. Initially, the owner found it peculiar, but over time, he noticed that whenever Mary Brown left her workplace, Frank would leave too. The owner had a rough idea of Frank Lee's identity, but he kept it to himself. The Browns family had a complex reputation, and this son-in-law, regarded by the entire LA city as a failure, probably didn't want his true identity exposed. "It's just a way to pass the time," Frank replied with a smile. The middle-aged owner admired Frank's unwavering dedication. Day after day, for 3 years, Frank showed up promptly at 4:30, quietly standing guard by Mary Brown's side. "When do you plan on picking her up from work?" Watching from afar can only do so much, the owner asked during a lull in customers, striking up a conversation with Frank. Frank gazed at the entrance of Brown's company and offered a faint smile. "Not yet. Little brother, there's something I'd like to say, if you don't mind." The owner hesitated. "Of course, go ahead," Frank encouraged. "I can't quite put my finger on it, but you don't seem like an ordinary person." How did you end up with the Browns?" The owner couldn't explain the feeling he had, but in his eyes, Frank Lee was different from the others. He felt that Frank couldn't possibly be the failure that people claimed him to be. "We all have flesh and blood, and we eat, drink, and sleep just like everyone else. So, yes, I am an ordinary person," Frank responded with conviction. "You know that's not what I mean," the owner persisted, his voice filled with concern. "To endure such relentless criticism, if it were me, I would have collapsed long ago." "Collapsed?" Frank Lee chuckled. As a discarded outcast who found his place within the Browns, Mary Brown's endurance far outweighed his own. He believed he had no right to collapse. In the eyes of others, Frank Lee endured humiliation, but in his own eyes, Mary Brown suffered far greater ridicule than he ever did. "What I endured was nothing compared to her," Frank stated. The boss sighed, understanding the weight of Frank's words, and chose not to press further. When Mary Brown finished her work for the day, Frank bid farewell to his boss, following their usual routine, and drove away in his worn-out Toyota. Mary Brown stood outside the company, waiting until Frank Lee's figure vanished from sight. For 3 years, Frank Lee faithfully waited for Mary Brown to conclude her day at work. In turn, Mary Brown waited until Frank Lee had departed before entering his car. Once they arrived home, James Brown recounted the meeting to Luna, who reacted with anger and frenzy. "Mary Brown, are you out of your mind? Have you thought about how we'll survive if we're kicked out of the Browns?" Luna exclaimed. "Lucas Brown intentionally provoked you. Haven't you grasped his intentions?" Mary Brown maintained a calm expression. "He doesn't want us to have a share of the Browns' wealth." Luna's face turned blue with fury as she roared. "If you knew that, why did you agree? How can you accomplish what they failed to do?" Mary Brown found herself in a complex emotional state. She believed in Frank Lee, but she questioned the rightness or wrongness of her decision. Although their family held a low status within the company, they still anticipated a portion of the inheritance once Helen Brown passed away. If they were cast out of the Browns, they would have nothing to claim. Trusting their entire future to Frank Lee came at a great cost, but the words had been uttered, and reversing them seemed impossible. "Do you not trust me that much, Mom?" Mary Brown pleaded. Luna, consumed by anger, pounded her chest in frustration. "How can I trust you? All the relatives of the Browns have fallen into ruin. On what basis should I trust you?" Mary Brown had no idea herself. She had agreed to this venture solely based on Frank Lee's message. Just then, Frank Lee returned home and approached Mary Brown, addressing Luna. "Mom, you should trust her. Mary Brown can do it." Luna glared at Frank Lee impatiently and retorted coldly. "What does this have to do with you? If you hadn't joined our family, my daughter would have married into wealth and lived a beautiful life. You ruined us. What qualifications do you have to speak? Frankly fell silent and retreated to the kitchen to prepare dinner. Frankly, can I trust you? Mary Brown suddenly asked, her voice filled with uncertainty. Frankly turned his head, a smile adorning his face. Yes, he affirmed. Luna sensed that something was amiss and hurriedly interrogated Mary Brown. What's the deal? Did you get involved in this? Did you convince Mary Brown to agree? Mary Brown knew that if Luna discovered the existence of the short message, she would make things unbearable for Frank Lee. Luna might even go so far as to evict him from their home. Mom, it's my decision, and it has nothing to do with him, Mary Brown asserted. Nothing to do with him? I think you've been completely influenced by this punk. Can you believe anything he says? Mary Brown, are you out of your mind? Luna's grip on Mary Brown's shoulder tightened, causing her daughter visible pain. Witnessing Mary Brown's anguish, Frank Lee's expression transformed into an icy coldness. He seized Luna's wrist firmly and spoke in a frigid tone. If Mary Brown can accomplish it, we'll know tomorrow. Why are you so unwilling to believe in her? Luna was furious. Who was this loser to speak out of turn? Let go of me. Our family doesn't have a Luna snapped. Frank Lee's to read it. Luna, with chillinges, refusing toidian dichinchanching. It was, Zephyr stimmish disfi. As Luna met Frankel's a sudden wave of ways as a feckle daramarm. James Brown, sensing thesicatient rushed forward event. Let go. Both of you, the situation hassle a deddy. What's asked who's your fashion? Now any a tough intally. After Luna relazi mari Frank Lil saladigo. Header net amerandi swan banwalqua. Algikuk. Luna, filled with animisty, gritted shways. Shespuednemos alafindawatlo loser. During dinner, Lunar fuzzed tujan bail. James Brown disquischideld filled with rapidiatin. If Mari Brown favilded, Lucas Brown and Rachel. If the wirendol dex there fate a wild beal. After dinner, frankly to caution drod wedwa, only to fin marinchwint herges a fix upon hom. Frankly ladened ones, the owner of Blacksant. Oh, Mary Brown replisterally showing noint tertiant. Therolom gruericality wherevent the patience. Thrayer shot should pazed yediach de semethetated amific. But a day, Mary Brown's densifuel. Particular Liffyank Mary Brown had Wainson. Don't wait for me patient Mary Brown's doodly. Frankly sherpisprick. He had tenticipitate. Alright. Herr responded. Mary Brown turned forward way by tinger liptility. As inexplicable ispritwit. She had always bolshev. However, when Luna had ratiis Cheryl's headshant orber building, Thisman, no matter how Urschels had stood by Herschen deferi, regardless of Thanjurzum's hillways were as a Marian. The manhart at enderganophonis feels anom, resided within Mary. It was no territant and nushrily shastaradadrid. Pickmoop in fronthiaf, she spoke, her voice alidentiability. Frankel was strabicti hiskis affixed in dwarberber badwab. Slowly, his bewilderisy ponorst. Unable to Safransky Mary Brown assume swait wand. Discontent sufficient if you don't want to then forget it. Beaut an instant. Frankel shut up, his excitement pull. Yes, Edo, he exclaimed. Mary Brown felshafex and twagless standings wild want. Cheryl is the thade ways. Thes a 3 years I'm sorry, she whispered, her voice tinged wisem.